Ever notice how some men walk into a room and instantly command respect? Not because they're loud, not because they're rich, but because there's something else going on. Something magnetic. Their partners don't just love them, they worship them. And no, it's not because they bought flowers or memorized some pickup line off Reddit. It's because they've tapped into a truth so old, most of us forgot it existed. A truth buried under modern hookup culture, TikTok therapy, and half-baked dating advice from people who still live with their moms. Let's rewind to a quiet village in the hills of Izmir. No Wi-Fi, no Instagram, just real people, real stories, and one woman whose name still echoes like a legend, Madame Lara. A silver-haired oracle with the kind of presence that makes grown men sit up straight. You didn't just talk to Lara, you confessed. One night, a bold young guy, equal parts curious and clueless, asked her a question most men would never dare voice out loud. What's the real meaning behind a man pleasuring a woman? Completely. Lara didn't flinch. She smirked like she'd been waiting her whole life for that question. Then, with the calm of someone who's seen generations rise and fall, she dropped a bomb. It's not about technique. It's not about lust. It's reverence. You see, in her village, the men who devoted themselves to their women, not just physically, but soul deep, weren't mocked. They were revered. Their relationships didn't fade. They flourished. Not because they were perfect, but because they understood one sacred truth. Giving is the highest form of power. Forget the cliché that women want rich guys, tall guys, bad boys. Lara said the men women never forget are the ones who know how to see them. Not just look, see. And when a man chooses to honor his partner in the most vulnerable way possible, he's not just igniting passion, he's unlocking loyalty most men will never earn. Lara wasn't done. She passed the mic, metaphorically, to an old man named Helio, the kind of elder whose words carry more weight than most people's bank accounts. He told the group, the greatest mistake men make? Thinking presence equals partnership. Just being there isn't enough. You gotta show up emotionally, mentally, and yes, intimately. According to Helio, real intimacy is a lifelong conversation, not a one-time act. The men who truly got this, their marriages outlasted droughts, wars, even death itself. Meanwhile, the ones who kept it surface level, their relationships cracked the moment life got hard. Here's what nobody tells you. Women don't want perfect men. They want present men, devoted men, men who make them feel chosen, every damn day. Helio dropped a line that stuck with everyone in the room. The greatest lovers are not the ones who conquer. They're the ones who care enough to understand. You feel that? The young men listening weren't just absorbing history. They were absorbing truths they'd never heard from their fathers, their schools, or the internet. They left that fire-lit circle changed, permanently. And slowly, things started to shift. Relationships that were cold got warm again. Women who had settled for crumbs finally felt like queens. And word spread. Fast. One day, a traveler showed up, a scholar, smart guy but skeptical. He'd heard the rumors, thought it was folklore, until he sat across from Lara and heard her talk about legendary men, warriors, poets, even kings, whose legacies weren't built on how many they'd conquered, but how deeply they'd connected. He went home, tried it. For the first time in years, he gave everything to his wife without expecting anything back. No agenda, just pure devotion. What happened next? She lit up, like he'd resurrected something long buried. Walls came down, passion came back, and the silence between them, gone. That night changed their marriage. He returned to the village, not as a skeptic, but as a believer, and what he said next should be engraved in stone. It wasn't the act itself, it was the intent. I gave without taking, and in return, I got everything I'd been missing. Madame Lara nodded, like she'd seen this movie 100 times. True intimacy, she said, starts long before the bedroom. It's in how you listen, how you speak, how you touch, even when there's no sex at all. Because here's the hard truth. Most men think pleasure is the goal. It's not. Connection is. And when a woman feels truly seen, truly valued, she doesn't just respond, she ignites. And that's exactly what happened in Izmir. One act of devotion became a revolution. Women stopped settling. Men stopped coasting. Relationships stopped being transactions and started becoming transformations. Couples who were one argument away from divorce rediscovered why they fell in love in the first place. Teens started asking real questions. The elders, smiling like they'd finally passed the torch. And the final lesson? It's brutal in its simplicity. The most powerful man in the room is the one who gives without demand, honors without ego, and loves without needing to be asked. This isn't some fairy tale. It's the blueprint. So now that you've heard the story, what are you going to do with it?